Crawling was added to Space Station 14 on Wisden. Yes, I know crawling exists on other servers. It's on Wisden now. If you press C by default, you will instantly go into a crawl position. If you press it again, there will be a small do after bar. You can continue moving during that, and you'll stand back up. You could crawl under objects like flaps like this, and interestingly enough, it is actually faster to get on a table by just face planting onto it and trying to stand up. But if you try to stand up like on the table, it says there's not enough room. So I guess it can be kind of janky, but then you can like push yourself onto the table, but you still can't stand up. So there's some interactions that are weird. Apparently tables are just the most ungravitational staley thing in the world, and you just cannot stand on them once you're on them. But it's fine. If you're crawling and you're forcing yourself to crawl, the only penalty you have at this point is that you can't move as quick, but you can still have objects in your hands. It doesn't make you drop it. If you run over something like soap and you have something in your hand, you will drop the item. However, since you're not stunned, you can pick the item back up instantly with a slip. So slips overall have been nerfed pretty significantly because of crawling. It is worth mentioning though that you do take like some stamina damage while slipping. So stun, you can eventually technically lose stamina by getting slip, but you can never stun yourself through slipping unless you're already really low stamina. But I think ironically, unless it's lube, you are too slow with low stamina to slip into stun, so it doesn't basically happen. But stunning will still make you immobile. You can't pick things up while stunned. So sec officers don't have to worry about that changing. Your suspect isn't going to be able to grab a gun or anything. And of course, since laying down means bullets will fly over you, that means laying down in a gunfight could actually be beneficial if they're just spraying past you. It'll force them to be accurate. Also means you can lay down and have people shoot over you. So like theoretically, if the crew all decided to lay inside each other, you could have 50 people shooting out of one tile and just like insta kill a nukie, but that would require a lot of coordination. But I can see insane firing lines getting used because of this. It's a very powerful tactic for the station to use in like ambushes against nukies. I guess nukies themselves can also use this to not worry about shooting each other in the back, but you can even wield guns and shoot the guns while laying on your back. So I guess Rainbow Six Siege tactics are in, and you just can all infinitely stack on each other. Just make sure you don't click the person you're sitting on. But if your sprites are on top of each other directly, you basically can't click them unless they overlay on you, and then you can hit them. The Wizard's Den is here, and that means, yes, literally Wizden has been added to the game. This replaces the Wizard Shuttle. It still resembles a shuttle in some ways, but it is now a den. Features all the same things, just thematically nicer. It's got bears. You can't fly it, though. This is used for the wizard to gear up and then teleport onto the station. So you no longer have the capability of just flying around in FTL like you're some kind of pilot. You're a wizard, Harry. There have been many changes to chem foams. Overall, people are probably just going to perceive this as a nerf. Potassium and water explosion damage scaling has been nerfed. This is back and forth constantly. I would not be surprised if this gets rebuffed in 6 months to a year. But the main thing here is chemistry foam and smoke reactions now trigger after things mix, and foam, smoke, and explosion reactions no longer transfer the reagent's energies to the containers, meaning that you can't do things like make basic explosions out of small foam. So for example, chlorine, fluorine, and a fluorosulfuric. So for example, chlorine, fluorine foam bombs used to kind of just like ingest and explode you. Now if you do that, nothing, it doesn't happen. You don't explode. It doesn't chain react off itself. This is going to definitely be perceived as a massive nerf to what I would probably already call rather rare chem bombs. It's really hard to get your hands on these chemicals outside of things like nukies. You have to basically be a chemist or know exactly what to order at cargo and not get busted for it. Either way, just covering the changes here. This is going to definitely require changing up recipes and how people make any form of chem foam damaging item again. And unfortunately, that means basically every guide I have on foam is now dead. Advanced reagents such as Bruisine, Lacerol, Puncturase, and Siginate now only process 0.1 unit, meaning they will heal much, much slower. So, for example, Bruisine only heals 0.6 blunt per 0.1 unit per second. You'll get the same amount of healing roughly over time, but these are way less useful in any type of combat or emergency situation. You can inject a patient with 10 units of it, and it'll take a full minute for it to process. So you can inject them, and the patient might not feel that they're better yet, but you can tell them they will be because it's just going to take a long time to, well, fully processed through the body. This is going to be a massive hit to Nukies because they're losing access to the fastest healing meds by far. They now will only have options to slowly recover and use basic medicines like bicardine and topicals. So I think that's going to change things up quite a lot. Without too much more, in my opinion, the changes are pretty clear. It's less effective for rapid healing, but you can inject more of it for more healing over time and a much longer time. That's pretty much it. And guess you'll have to see how it plays out in game. Protected grids like evac and the ATS can now actually be interacted with again, meaning that you can fix them. So for example, if I deconstruct a floor just to showcase this as quickly as possible, and I actually want to fix it, I can place down the rod, and then I just need some floor tiles, which if I was a more prepared man, I would have already had these out. Good enough. We have fixed it. No problem. The RCD was giving me some issue. I was saying that like I couldn't use it, but I could still hand place the tiles. Not 100% sure why, but expect it to be more fixed than it was before. The AI's name will now be displayed on the AI eye, so it's right there. I'm AI589. So if you're spectating them or see them as a ghost, you can then see their name as well. In case you forgot their name, it gives you a little bit easier time to recognize them. Syndicate chaplains can now purchase the Acolyte armor bundle for 4TC. The Acolyte armor is a really good piece of armor. It is 50% reduction to basically all the common damages, no explosive. It's not spacefaring, but it slows you by 10%. The cult shoes and the cult helmet. The helmet actually oddly has 20% slash resistance, so it's, I think, the best helmet in the game for slash resistance. Maybe the raid suit's better. Either way, it's really good armor for 4TC, but it will obviously instantly out you as a syndicate member, because the only other way of attaining this, I think, is like emagging the piety vendor, if that's still a thing. That's how it used to be. I didn't check, but you can guarantee get these now for a very cheap price. This PR is one that's hard for me to explain, but there has basically been changes to the MIDI system in general. I guess it's got sound font. There's a lot of technical stuff here, but in general, I've noticed that music instruments just in general sound a lot better. And I think behind the scenes, this means that people like Mac and stuff can use it without having to download weird stuff. I obviously am not a technical person. I don't know the technicalities, but I've certainly heard MIDIs being played and they sound better to me personally. I know some people seem to complain that some instruments are wrong, but I feel like that can be fixed and tweaked over time. But man, does Minecraft music sound good on a piano. The smart fridge now actually works. It can store many things. For example, it can store entire pill canisters, it can store individual pills, it can store jugs, it can store products such as like poppies and stuff. And all you do is click to dispense it. You can access it from 360 degrees. So like if there's one connected to botany, to chem, they can put the medicinal plants directly into the smart fridge and you can pull it out. It even leaves an inventory behind, so if you resupply it and have the UI open, it will resupply it just like so. So this is awesome. This lets you keep an actual inventory that everyone can see that's safe-ish. It's not just on the ground. It's not going to be spilled in a moment's notice. And it lets people interact with this machine that is hopefully going to see a lot more use rather than just stuffing things in lockers. It's really nice being able to see what you have medical-wise. Huge improvement for chemists and doctors alike. The China Lake has received some changes. The fragmentation grenades, which and this is where I'm a little confused on. The normal grenades are called frag grenades that comes loaded with. These are supposed to shoot out fragments, but to me it just kind of looks the same. I didn't see any fragments coming out. Maybe there's something I'm not understanding, but that is the normal round in this. And also, blast grenades have been changed, so now they will no longer just space the floor automatically. So like, let me just put a wall here and shoot it. If I shoot this, it's not going to space the floor, but it still does the high damage in a smaller area. So I could be doing something wrong with the frag grenade. I look for it. I even checked a PR and I don't see what I'm missing. But either ways, some changes to the China Lake. Getting cold will now slow you down significantly less. Before, when you were as cold as you could get, you would slow down by literally up to 60%. Now the slowest you'll get slowed down is 30%. While that's still a noticeable slowdown, 60% would make you slow to a crawl. The full-length double barrel now has a tighter spread. And that spread is actually, I mean, I'm 4 tiles away, and every single pellet's hitting no problem. Now the sawn-off has a wider spread. I'm not hitting, I'm only hitting about half the pellets at this range. The Warden's locker now comes with a network config by default, meaning you have more control over like what you want to bolt automatically upon a door opening or whatever the case may be. You don't have to go searching for one now. And to end the video off on Moth's eating good once more. There are now cotton cakes and subsequently slices of cotton cake. They're easy to make. You just need a base cake and 10 units of fiber cooked for 5 seconds and you'll have your own delicious cotton cake. You just lick the frosting off apparently. Anyways, I'd like to thank our maintainers and contributors for all their hard work, adding new mechanics and such and new content. And of course, thank you for watching.